This is the last portion of the webinar, but it's also one of the most important parts, the competition schedule. Now, it looks like a lot, but it really isn't. I'll break it down for you. The first meet on June 10th to June 11th moved. So this is not happening. Again, this presentation's 6 weeks old now, but within the 6 weeks, USATF had moved the meet from New York, New York to Lisle, Illinois. Now, is it an inconvenience? Well, not to you, but maybe to me, because now I got to make a whole nother slide. But now they moved the meet from New York, New York to Lisle, Illinois. So now we don't have to travel. We can stay home more. And then basically for the remaining of the meets, I'll go over those meets too. And then also the next slide, I'm gonna go over the details of where the meet came from. So here was the meet in New York. So this is the same meet that was in New York, but now it's here in Lisle. And it's a team meet. So they score it as a team, and the team can win a trophy. And here are some areas that the athletes will have to qualify to participate, which is very doable. The age division now goes, I think it starts at a 9 to 10, 11 to 12, and then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, it's no longer in New York, but it is in Lisle now. So over in Lisle, it's June 26th through the 30th. And then that's right after our association meet. So this is an example of how we would be competing for an entire week. But the good thing is we don't have to go far from home. I mean, if you're from Illinois, I live in Bolingbrook, so Benedictine University is 10 minutes from my house. But if you're coming from Champaign, you're looking at 2 hours. So this is what it looks like. And as you sign up and choose the meets you want, I register you immediately. So the registration for this meet is open. I've checked it before I got into this webinar. So I can register any athlete that's with USATF Track My Speed. I can do that right now if I wanted to and just be done with it and move on. So this is the meet I gave you an example of. There's no standard to get into the meet. It is a high school age division meet. So if you're in middle school or younger, this meet is not for you. You're looking at $20 per athlete for individual events. So it's a mid-distance classic. So it's just distance races. The shortest race that they have at this meet is the 800-meter dash. The next meet is the New Balance meet. Now this is the meet. This is the meet that most high school athletes are trying to get into. But as you can see, the standards are very difficult to hit. So looking at this immediately, for the athletes that I have trained in this webinar now, one athlete has qualified in the 200, one in the 400, and the other in the 300 hurdles. So far that's 3 athletes that are going to New Balance, and we've already started making those arrangements. We do that right away. And this meet is coming up sooner than the others. That's June 16th through the 18th. Now this is the championship division. There is a lower division that is less challenging to hit, which is the emerging elite, and you can see the difference. So now I go from having 3 athletes qualify to having 6 to 7. So we're getting ahead of the game. You know, we've already have hotel books. Some of us are driving, some of us are flying, but the idea is to qualify right away, make your travel arrangements, and you get out there while you can. This is also a high school age division, so you have to be in high school to participate. This is where they get you. It's $50 per event, but it's completely worth it. You get a fancy book bag, which I think coaches should get one too, but They don't. Um, and it's just a really well-ran meet. So this is more than just a USATF national meet, a U.S. national meet. If you make it to New Balance, you're competing amongst athletes from Australia, definitely Canada. Like this meet we have a lot of Canadians in this meet. Africa, Jamaica. So this is turning into one of the largest high school international meets. So it's pretty tough to get in. Now, if you fly, this is what the cost looks like that you'll be added onto your summer. So you would take $50 plus, your 390, or your $50 per event added to your 390. You're looking at, what's that, $440. You add $440 onto your 567, you're looking at 900 plus for the summer. So just by adding on one track meet, and in fact, this track meet costs more than your summer to go to 3 track meets, but it's worth it. At this meet, there's probably going to be over 100 college coaches looking at athletes that has already hit these standards. On the same weekend, let me back up. So this is the cost if you fly, $390. You're looking at the bottom of the screen. And then this is the cost if you were to travel, if you were to drive with the team. That's $100 per athlete. That's to carpool with the team. Is $90 per athlete for the hotel, and that gives you $90. So now you're looking at $240 that you're adding on, opposed to $440. Over in Canada, now Track My Speed's big on going to Canada. This is Windsor, Canada. So from Chicago, that's 5 hours. If you're in Valparaiso, that's only 4 hours. Because you're basically driving. We're staying in Detroit, Michigan. So we're staying overnight in Detroit. We wake up early in the morning, cross the bridge over into Windsor, Canada, and the track is right there. So from the stadium of Windsor University, if you go to the top of the stands, you can see across the river and you can see the United States. Or you can see Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, but it's still pretty cool. This meet they do it differently in Canada. It's 20 years and under, and then 20 years and older. But this is the first first summer meet for Canada. So this is the first meet for professional Canadian athletes, but then also the first track meet for the summer for the youth athletes as well. It's $20 per individual event, and then we're estimating the cost to be $167. So if you do the math, that's $190. So you'd be adding $190 to your 567 if you were to add this cost on. So if you don't make it to New Balance, this is another great option. It's on the same weekend. So what it looks like is Track My Speed will be taking like a group of 10 athletes to North Carolina for the New Balance, but we'll be taking a larger group over to Canada to compete over there. We spill over to Sacramento, California, and this meet's real. So you're looking at the junior championships. And I'm gonna take a moment of silence for everyone to take in these entry standards, because they're tough. Now, I'm pretty sure looking at these standards, most of the parents are thinking, whoa, this is pretty intense. And first, it's for high school only. Let's get that out of the way. But people, we're training for nationals, not high school anymore, nationals. And so that's the mindset you have to have when you go into the summer, whether you're training with Track My Speed or another local track club, it's serious business. And then the cost, they don't have that up yet, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be $16 per event, but I don't want to put that in print just yet because it could be different. Going to California, you're still looking at the same cost previously as going to North Carolina. So we're estimating that cost to be so. Now, we have been doing a great job reaching out to athletes that have already hit these standards or close to hitting these standards. So as a reward, if we get an athlete that hit this standard, Track My Speed is ready to pay the travel expenses, travel expense of a flight to this meet if the athlete were to hit these standards. So that means if I get a young man that joins Track My Speed today, and they go to the state meet, they hit a 21:44, and they have their USATF membership, they've already paid for the summer, and they're registered for this meet, we're going to book them a flight right away. So we're committing to $300, but if it's a flight that's $566, we'll pay that too. If it's a flight that's like $290, of course we'll pay that. So the highest we'll go would be like $370 to fly athletes out to California if they were to hit these times. If any athlete joins Track My Speed and hit these times, they deserve to be on the track. So this is our way of paying it forward. Now, we get into the Junior Olympic Series. What you're seeing here is the USATF Association meet. It says it's in Bourbonnais, Illinois. And right now, online, it's still showing that it's in Bourbonnais, Illinois. But they just moved the Hershey meet from New York to Lisle. And that meet starts on June 26th. Through my experience dealing with USATF, they're not going to have a meet in Bourbonnais through the 23rd through the 25th and then drive an hour up north and have a different meet on the 27th through the 30th. They're going to have it at the same location. So I say be ready for a location change on this meet, because they're going to want to, pair those, butt those two meets together and go run one big track meet from the 23rd through the 30th. So this is a series of Junior Olympic Games. So it takes the top 8 individual athletes in relays, and each age division will advance to the regionals. Championships held on the 6th at Northern Illinois, which is in DeKalb. So as of right now, if you choose not to do New Balance or go to Canada, you can go to the Distance Classic, which is in Lisle, Illinois. Go to the Hershey meet that just moved to Lisle, Illinois. Participate in the Illinois state meet and regionals. That's 4 track meets that you don't even have to leave the state, which keeps our summer expenses pretty low. So the age divisions is 9 to 10, 11 to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, the USATF events goes younger, but Track My Speed stops at 9 to 10. If we get an athlete that's younger than 9 to 10, I'm not really looking at the athlete. I'm looking towards the family. Like, okay, are you going to be at practice? You can't drop your 7-year-old kid off at the track with high school kids and leave. Like, a parent has to be on the track with the athlete too. The entry fees for this summer is already included, and it shouldn't. If you're in the state, if you're around Lisle, there are no travel expenses. But if you're in Champaign or Indianapolis, Geneseo, we'll have a separate webinar for those locations to go over travel fees. So before every track meet, there'll be a webinar going over details on how to prepare for each meet to make sure that we're squared away. There are a lot of moving pieces in summer track. To advance to regionals, you need to be top 8 from the association. But once you're at regionals, you need to be top 5 in your age division to advance to nationals. Same drill. It's an A division meet. The cost is already included into your summer. And then the same spill as we get the athletes advancing through these meets, we'll give those travel arrangements information during that webinar at that time. Now, the grand finale, the Junior Olympics. So this is what we've been training for. So if you qualify through the USATF state, then regionals, and you make it all the way to the Junior Olympics, we're looking at taking a trip to Lawrence, Kansas on the 24th through the 23rd. Through the 30th. Now, we're not competing that whole time. If you're a multi-athlete, which means if you're a heptathlon or a decathlete, you're competing on the 24th and the 25th. And that's Monday and Tuesday. That Wednesday will be the 26th, and that's when the sprint events are going to start. So you're looking at the 4x8 is that day, first round and final. On Wednesday, the 26th would be the first round of the 400-meter hurdles, the first round of the 200-meter dash, and the first round of the 4x1. That's going to be on Wednesday. So you're not looking to be in Lawrence, Kansas through the entire week because you don't travel that many. You're not competing through that whole time. You make top 8 at the Junior Olympics to become All-American, which is our goal. Last year, we brought home 12 All-American titles. Age divisions are still the same at the Junior Olympics. That's how you advance. And then this summer, the entry fees for this meet is also already included into your summer cost with that $567. Now, we are preparing to go to Kansas. I don't see a need to fly. I believe that we can carpool. And as athletes sign up and register for Track My Speed, we're pretty much pre-building relays and partnering those athletes together, and they're going to be traveling throughout the entire summer. That way, when they travel to the Junior Olympics, everyone's used to each other. They know who likes to sleep on what side of the bed, who likes to eat at what restaurant. So we take in consideration all those details when we travel because it's very important. Now, while we're looking at a carpool, if you're a parent that wants to carpool those 4 athletes, each athlete is looking into to chip in $75 per. So that's $150. So that's $300 in gas for the 21st through the 30th, and then each athlete is $150 for hotel for that week. So those expenses that you'll be adding on will be $225. So if you don't add on any more track meets of the summer, and you pay to Track My Speed $567, and then you pay, and then the athlete advances to the Junior Olympics, you're looking at $567 plus $225. That's $792. That's still a good summer. That's, I will have to say, that's cheaper than ice hockey, less expensive than cheerleading. Lacrosse is a huge money bag there, so track is an expensive sport, but it's not as expensive as swimming and the other meets that are out there. This is just a demonstration to show you what the standards are, what they look like. It's a good representation of what the standards look like towards the beginning of the summer as we work our way through the end. And if you notice, let's look at the 400-meter dash for the girls, for an example. The first meet is 1 minute, and then the New Balance Merging Elite is 56, and then the championships is 55. And then you jump all the way to the juniors, it goes all the way from a 55.7 down to a 54. So this is a good picture to illustrate that we're training for nationals, not high school, but it's still a good experience because it gives the athletes exposure. So when they going into the high school season, they're far more prepared, and they're at a greater likelihood of qualifying for the state finals. As far as the expenses go, if you were to add any of these track meets onto your schedule, Canada would be the least expensive add-on. The Junior Olympics, be ready to add that on already. So let's say you add on Canada to your national meet expenses. So that's $792 plus $165. You're looking at $957 for the summer. So the expenses are still relatively like low. Last summer, I believe the families averaged anywhere from 1,900 to $2,000. So this summer we're actually saving like $1,000 this summer. So that I believe that's really big that we can do something like this. So I'm proud of that moment. So I'm gonna go over some quick dates, and I believe we're done. So at the end of the year on Sunday, June 11th, we're celebrating our seniors. We're going to have a graduation and award ceremony, and then we're having I keep forgetting the name of it, but it's when the guys will wear their flats and they have like a tuxedo, and most of the girls will end up wearing like their prom dresses they wore to the prom, and they'll have like their sneakers on. But it's a really fun event, and it's like 3 pieces. So there's a graduation, there's a award ceremony, and then there's just this huge party. And during this party, we have 3 DJs. We have a DJ outside on, for the sand volleyball courts and, the bags game. So we have a DJ outside for the outside activities. The athletes have a DJ inside for their party, and then the parents have their own DJ in the bar for us adults. So it's kind of cool. So this is going to be a really big shindig here. I can't believe I just said shindig. Ha! All right. And then another thing that we can do, that we do, is on Monday, July 7th, 17th. We use a Monday because at the lake, we pretty much can do what we want because there's not a lot of boats. But this is a photo from 2016 of some of us on one boat, but we can get up to 10 boats. So, and we like to stake to 10 athletes per boat. So if there are 10 boats and we're going 10 athletes per boat based on life jackets, we can have a pretty cool party. That'll be about 100 of us, and we tie all the boats together in like a horseshoe. And the lake is only 4 feet deep, and again we'll have a DJ on one of the boats, and it's just one big party on the boat, and we just chilling. And that is the